Hi everybody, I am Shannon. If you guys listen to the podcast, I am John's co-host. And he makes me come out here and give this talk to get everyone in. But I think you guys have already learned this week, like, how to not be afraid of, like, going out and doing all these experiments, right? And so I run a cryogenic magnetometer lab at OU. I'm going to say I don't love the magnetometer right now. You'll get that at the end of this presentation. But how I learned to stop worrying about, like, messing around with it and just do it, because honestly, we all have imposter syndrome, okay? Even the people you don't think, they all have imposter syndrome too, okay? And in your situations now, you know, your advisor or your boss says fix it, you have to fix it. Right, Reagan? So this obviously happened to me too, right? You know, my first self-motivated project was that we have a camera bridge that measures magnetic susceptibility, and it ran on a floppy disk, and I upgraded it to a computer from its, like, Russian DPU status. It was super scary. Immediately following that, I had the guy that, like, did some of the original, like, magnetic susceptibility work, came in and looked at it. It scared the shit out of me. We all don't know what we're doing, okay? Even the people who you think they do. So we acknowledge it, and you have to move on if you want to stay doing this, okay? And that's one thing I've learned talking to a lot of really smart people, is that everyone feels it. You just got to get over it. Your entire lab depends on you, like, taking steps forward, even if you mess up, because that's how we learn. And so I have some rules for starting something scary. And this first rule I definitely learned from John, which is read the manual, okay? Most everything has manuals. You can find all the manuals online. Read the manuals. Because the one thing that does happen is if you haven't tried anything, people are less likely to help you. I'm sure you guys experienced this from Mike and John and Jonah this week. You say, I have a question, and they say, what have you done? What have you tried? Right? So do your homework before asking anyone anything. That doesn't mean you need to find the answer. You need to prove that you're trying to find the answer, or that you're interested in doing that. This could just mean watching YouTube videos. It could mean Googling. Today it means using AI, okay? And so learning how to ask AI the right things is very important. That all counts as doing your homework and trying to figure stuff out. So use all your ways of gathering information. Then when you go to someone, you're like, I've done blah, 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 blah. And they're likely to be like, okay, I will engage with you and help you get past this and figure this out. This is my face all day yesterday. So admit to yourself that you don't know everything. Okay, so that seems kind of silly, but yeah, you don't know everything, and that's okay. Maybe even admit it to the person you're asking to for help, because they probably already know. It's okay. This means that you don't have to be a jerk to yourself or others. I'm very self-deprecating to the point of being annoying, I'm sure. Okay? Everyone starts at the beginning. You're an expert in some area. Okay? So that's fine to ask help. It's really hard for me. I have 4 degrees, all in geosciences. None of them are in electrical engineering. So when I have to ask a dumb question, I remind myself, I know other stuff, and I'm smart. I can figure this out. Okay? So just don't be mean to yourself either. It's okay that you don't know it. Yes, maybe somebody thinks you're an idiot. Who cares? If you get your answer and you fix your machine, that's all that matters. Now, once you've gone through this experience, whether it's something super easy or something super hard, write it down for God's sake so you don't have to rely on your imperfect memory. Okay, this is a big deal. You don't want to forget what you've learned. Okay, clearly it wasn't something that you do often, or else you already would have known how to do it. One of the things that we have to do in our lab is we have to replace liquid helium in our cryogenic magnetometer. It's a 4 Kelvin. It's terrifying. It comes in this crazy doer. We used to have VCR tapes of, like, the guy that developed them doing a helium exchange, and we'd watch the VCR tapes, and then we would go and try to remember everything on the VCR tapes. It was pretty amazing. So what would have been better is if we had sort of a written manual for how to do this. So once you've learned something, or as you're learning, write it down, okay? Keep that with you, so the next time you have to do it, we have to change the helium every year and a half. long enough that you forget, you'll know. Okay, and then you won't be bugging people and asking them the same thing twice. All of this and everything that you guys have done this week definitely leads up to gaining the confidence to tinker around. Okay, I was told, fix this Kappa bridge. I didn't use the Kappa bridge. It wasn't part of my research at all. And so I had to upgrade it, and I just had to go through it and figure out how it worked. All right, a lot of the instructions were from the Czech Republic. They weren't written well. Some of it I didn't understand. It's fine. I figured it out, right? This led to like tinkering in other ways. And I always joke with Jonah, I always add to this list like every year to see how long it can get. So I started with like fixing my own record player. Okay, doing all of this stuff when I was fixing the magnetometer. I was told by the tech at the magnetometer company that I was incompetent, so that was fun. This really hit me pretty hard. I just got my PhD. I was still kind of nervous, said I was incompetent, definitely cried about it. And then I was told that he also called Joe Kirschvink incompetent. He's the guy that like came up with how we do magnetism, period. And so that made me feel better. Okay. I had to do stuff like calibrating the piezometer. Somebody used a piezometer today in my magnetometer. I was pregnant. I was stuck like in between a wall and the magnetometer. It was great. It was fine. These are really expensive, but I got it done. So yeah, software changes. This is the guy who called me incompetent. Later, he called me on the phone and asked me for a whole bunch of favors. So yeah, I'm his favorite person now. Yeah, and then Lehman built me a sample handler, so there's all that too. My husband said, oh, you know everything, change the circuit board on our heater at our house. And so I did that. And then last year I had to get a compressor for my magnetometer. I reached out to someone else, this was really scary, asking if somebody had this compressor. He had that compressor, he gave it to me, that's awesome. I had to track down a chiller for it because I didn't know how to do that. I don't know what a chiller is. Okay, which I did. There's a place called Oklahoma Chiller. I drive by it every day. I thought they made these. And it turns out they don't. It turns out they make exactly what I needed for my compressor, which it takes the water, keeps it cold. Okay, awesome. So they didn't make Yetis, they did this. Cool. Until yesterday. This is an exploded compressor. It's not my exploded compressor. Literally yesterday, my compressor, it blew off one of these lines that hooks to the chiller. It wound up, yeah, I don't know what it's done. I'm meeting with the tech next week. So again, it's just like thing after thing. I don't know how to fix a chiller, but guess what? My tech does. So that's okay. It's okay to ask for this kind of help. It's okay when stuff breaks. The thing is that you're proactive and you're taking steps to learn how to fix it, how to tinker with it. And I felt really bad about this until actually today when I was listening to a book and it had a bunch about this guy, German philosopher Alfred Adler. If you guys know about this dude, he was a part of the Wednesday Society that was in Vienna with Sigmund Freud. So he was a contemporary of Freud's. And where Freud said, blame your parents for everything, which is super easy to do, Adler said, hold on. Okay, you need to take some responsibility in this. But he also realized, if you don't speak German, this basically means inferiority feelings. And so he came up with that inferiority complex and like feelings of inferiority. And he said, when you don't feel like you know something, it's fine. It's normal. It's healthy. But most importantly, that feeling is subjective. So it goes back to talking about impostor syndrome. Okay, I know a lot about planetary magnetism. I don't know a lot about electrical engineering. So when you have these inferior feelings compared to other people, remember those are subjective. And Adler said, what I really took to heart here is that you can use those feelings as a launch pad to overcome the challenges. Guess what? I don't want to do this. I don't want to, but I have to, and that's fine. And when I do it, I'm going to definitely drive skill development because then I'm going to know the next time what not to do, what to do. I'm going to know that that clamp he put on that hose didn't hold, and I'm going to find a different one. And it should help you to strive for improvements. So instead of wallowing here and blaming your parents like Freud wants you to do, Adler says, feel this, that's cool, but use it as your drive. And so you use this drive to become a master of your realm. But you can't do that by yourself, as maybe you found out this week too. And that's where this other guy comes in. And this is the scientist, E.O. Wilson. He's a biologist, and he's just one of these best, most friendly. He has so many teachings. And one of the coolest things that I ever heard him talk about was the fact that geniuses don't make the best scientists. All right, you think, oh, I'll never be as smart as so-and-so. And he said, don't worry. That's what they make other people for. So he says specifically, don't worry if you aren't good at math. That's why they make Mike, to help you with it, okay? So that's the deal, is that we all need to like work together. So don't get down on yourself for not knowing all of the things. That's what we're all here for, is to fill in those gaps. Except John, he can probably do all of it, but but essentially, you know, this is what the other sciences are made for, all right? So yeah, that's my pep talk for you guys, even though you guys probably already learned all of this week anyway.